Hi, I'm Michael and welcome to Tamenuri Studio. I said in one of my previous videos that I will make a comparison of all Nakayas I have. I have recently acquired a Dorsal Fin version 2, which is my grail pen, and the first Nakaya I bought was Decapod, and it was and used to be my grail pen then, but it was dethroned by some other pens. Then I bought a cigar 17mm and it became my EDC pen and my absolutely daily, and is always inked, and now it could be absolutely dethroned by Dorsal Fin. And I will show all the pens today, just short. It's not a review, it's just a short comparison of 3 different pens, 3 different nibs from the same maker in 3 different finishes. Of course, urushi finishes, and that's what I do, and that's what I'm going to talk about the most. So here they are in beautiful Nakaya wrap. It's for 5 pens, so at least 2 more Nakayas will appear in my collection soon, I hope. They are quite expensive, so I need to think and not to be in a hurry. But here they are. It's Nakaya Decapod in kuro-tamenuri. I will talk about the finish in a moment. The second one was cigar 17mm, and it's in heki-tamenuri. And the most recent acquisition is Nakaya Dorsal Fin, second version in aka-tamenuri. Okay, let's put it aside. Nakaya pens come in wooden boxes and in such wraps, as you can see here. And those here are also made for 1 pen, and I like them very much, but I didn't buy a single pen wrap yet, but I think I will do this. There is one more version, I think it's gold. It's much more yellow and gold than this one. It's very gold itself. It's a material, the fabric, which is used for making kimonos, and as this one is. And it's very convenient to use. You should use some kind of a sleeve or a pen wrap for your urushi pens, because urushi is very strong material, and it's very not cannot be distracted by acids or alkalines or oils or anything like that, but it is quite not it's how to say it, it's fragile in terms of light, so it can be destroyed by UV light, and it can oxidate and flake and change the color, and you should protect it from prolonged exposure to ultraviolet light. So 3 pens and 3 different shapes and 3 different designs. The most usual typical shape is of course the cigar, and the only one which rolls off here, as you can see. So the only one without a built-in roll stopper. All of them are ebonite. Ebonite probably made by Nikko in Japan. And this one is a just typical cigar pen, quite girthy, 17mm wide, and it's included in the name of this pen because you can distinguish this one from a typical cigar by the addition of 17mm in the name. It's finished in heki-tamenuri, so it's pale green, greenish, like underlayer, then covered with a not raw, but pure urushi, which is brown without any additives. So you can see through those areas where tamenuri is the most visible, so all the edges and threads and curves of the pen, the underlying pale green color. And this one is with medium nib, so it's very similar to European Fine, and it's the most practical nib for everyday writing from my point of view in case of Nakaya and Platinum. with my handwriting and my approach to writing. I use it both for like traveler's notebook and my big notebook. I use the same pen in this case, and it works well in both of them. The second one is Decapod, and it has a built-in roll stopper in some way. So this pen has facets, and those facets are twisted. And it's an incredible design. I don't even know how it's made. I was reviewing this pen before, so I think I was discussing this. And this one is finished in kuro-tamenuri. Kuro-tamenuri is the design where the underlying red color, the middle layers are red, probably shu, so vermilion or shu, or just cinnabar, and then covered with black roiro urushi. Roiro urushi, kuro roiro urushi is semi-transparent, semi-translucent, and it depends on the mixture of kijiro urushi with kuro roiro urushi, how translucent it will be on the pen. But this translucency is bigger where the layers are thinner. So on all the edges, and this pen has a lot of edges, you can see the underlying red color. What is funny about this underlying color, so vermilion or shu, I see European vendors or American vendors describing the pens, and many of them mix completely the names of the colors and just don't know what means what. And sometimes you can find a description that the pen is shu vermilion, which means exactly the same. So it means that pen is red and red at the same time. Shu is a color and vermilion is a pigment, and they both mean in terms of the pen exactly the same. European name for this pigment is cinnabar, or it's mercurium sulfide. So it's a compound of mercurium, so it is toxic, but not when it's already mixed with lacquer and cured mercurium oxide. It's very traditional, very traditional pigment used also in Europe for red color, so nothing very special about Japanese version of this pigment. So exactly the same pigment was used in Europe, and it's the same case for most pigments used for urushi. Typical traditional pigments in urushi are just natural pigments. So pigments which could be easily found and processed like 1000 years ago. So usually it's different kind of ashes or soils found in different places like volcanoes or extinguished volcanoes, where you can find mercurium sulfide and different types and mixtures of iron oxides, and exactly the same pigments were used in Europe, at least some of them, and some more. Some pigments do react with oils or acids because urushi is acidic, and you can see it easily just after you mix them or several months later as they react. But very stable pigments like titanium oxide, iron oxide, mercurium sulfide, and some more are quite stable. Also, the compounds of arsenic are used for yellow, as far as I remember. And the third pen is even more red. It's aka-tamenuri, so red covered with a transparent, translucent urushi. And on this pen you can see the tamenuri effect almost on whole surface of this pen. So in case of heki-tamenuri, you can see it right now mostly in those areas of edges of the pen. It's a round pen, no edges to show off the tamenuri effect. On Decapod, much more edges, but the technique of kuro-tamenuri is quite dark, and you can see very strong red only on the edges. And in case of aka-tamenuri, the layers, covering layers, the tamenuri layers are quite thin, and they are much more translucent than in case of kuro-tamenuri. and natural color. So you can see that the whole pen is red, but it's more red and more bright red in some areas and slightly or more or very darker in some other areas. And as you will see, I will open the pens, I will make a short writing sample, and this Tamenuri effect is very pronounced on the threads and this area near the nib. So let's start with the medium, and it's Nakaya cigar 17 millimeters. It's in heki-tamenuri, and ink is Pilot Iroshizuku Sioro. Medium nib, but writes like European fine. That's the ink, Iroshizuku Sioro. And then another medium nib, but this time it's a soft nib. I will try to show it. It is much softer than the medium nib on the cigar, and this one is a Decapod. So Nakaya Decapod TW for twist. Actually, I should write that it's a Nakaya cigar Decapod twist, because you can find also Decapods which are not twisted and Decapods with a clip, which will be writers. So Nakaya writer Decapod twist is the most absurd pen I can think of. I would never put a clip on a Decapod twist. I would never put a clip on a Decapod, but I can imagine that someone wants this and could do this, but on Decapod twist, putting a clip is a blasphemy from my point of view. The finish is kuro-tamenuri, and kuro means black. So it refers to the final layer, the covering layer, not the underlying layer as in aka-tamenuri, where aka means red, and in case of kuro-tamenuri it means black, so it's an overlying layer. And the ink in this one is a ink from Akkerman, and it's SBRE brown. It's one of my favorite inks of all time, and definitely my favorite brown ink. And the last pen is Dorsal Fin. So it's Nakaya Dorsal Fin, second version, and it's finished in aka-tamenuri. And ink is Gourmet pens pink. This nib is broad and is as stiff as the medium nib on the cigar, 17 millimeters. And I will just show you those two inks. Those are beautiful bottles from Akkerman. This one is a SBRE brown, and this one is pink from Gourmet pens. And I emptied this reservoir to show you this glass ball inside the bottle, which keeps the ink, as you can see in this case, inside this second container, and makes much easier to fill the pen from such a tall bottle. You can get rid of the ink from this upper container in this way and see the ball inside too. Okay, that's it for today. It's my third Nakaya, and it's definitely not the last Nakaya. It's right now, as you can imagine, I have a lot of urushi pens with me here, but those are the only urushi pens which are not made by me and stayed with me for longer. And I hope I will show you some more in near future. Thank you. It was a comparison review of 3 Nakayas on 3 different finishes. And if you want more, just subscribe to my channel, like this video, and let me know in the comments what would you like to see in the future. Thank you, bye.